Canelo Alvarez. What the hell are you talking about? Will you stop? That's just BS. Anybody who knows boxing, everybody who watches boxing knows that David Benavidez is the real deal. Now, that doesn't mean he'd beat you, because anybody could fall if you catch him right. We know who you are, Canelo. You big time. But I think Bivol would fight you. I think Benavidez would fight you. Do you believe that at this stage of his career, Canelo Alvarez would ever choose to fight you?
I mean, to be honest with you, I just feel like it's too big of a fight to leave on the table. I think, what that fight represents, two great Mexicans going at it, two great world champions, the best world champions of their era going at it. So I feel like, it has to happen, eventually. It's too big of a fight to not make happen.
So the way I've seen him handle my presence is he's definitely scared of me. If you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters.
Canelo, Benavidez is probably the next guy up, but you the old vet. Don't you want to pass it? It's just like when De La Hoya fought against Chavez, and Chavez Sr. passed the torch to De La Hoya. Yeah. Like here, I'm that guy, but you know what? Let's go. I'm older now. You know what? You beat me. You the next one on the throne. And that's respect. And that's the reason why I think a lot of people have a hard time with Canelo is because he doesn't have those codes. He doesn't live by that. The little, Mbilli, Mbilli fight that he's gonna be fighting. He gonna piece Mbilli ass up. Ooh, he gonna piece him up. I like Mbilli, tough guy, come bring the pain. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. But Canelo gonna catch and shoot on his ass all night long. Uppercuts, hooks. Oh, it's gonna be bad. Oh, it's gonna be bad.
When the most powerful voice in sports television looks directly into the camera and asks boxing's undisputed king if he is terrified, you know a line has been crossed. For years, Saul Canelo Alvarez operated as an untouchable titan, dictating terms, collecting belts, and capturing hundreds of millions. But the latest explosive storm ignited by Stephen A. Smith is no longer just about matchmaking or pay-per-view numbers. It cuts straight to the core of a fighter's pride. Behind the scenes of Canelo's upcoming showdown against Christian Mbilli lies an unsettling question that refuses to fade. Is boxing's biggest superstar orchestrating a calculated retreat from the single most dangerous man in the sport?
If you had to pick 3 fights that you want more than anything in your career before it's over, sooner than later, what would those 3 fights be?
The top 3 fights that I want for my career, and I honestly feel like we can make it happen. The next 3 fights is me versus Dimitri Bivol, me versus Artur Beterbiev, and me versus Canelo Alvarez. I think there's so much hype behind all 3 of these fights that we have to make them happen, and I think it's a possibility we can make it happen. So you know what? At the end of the day, we're going to take care of business this Saturday, and then we're going to continue to try to make these big fights happen.
Stephen A. Smith did not hold back when he lit the combat world on fire with an unprecedented rant. He laid out a brutal reality that left fans buzzing across social media. This was not about whether Canelo could beat David Benavidez, but the undeniable fact that the entire world has been begging for this exact collision.
I think Bivol would fight you. I think Benavidez would fight you. Do you believe that at this stage of his career, Canelo Alvarez would ever choose to fight you?
I mean, to be honest with you, I just feel like it's too big of a fight to leave on the table. I think, what that fight represents, two great Mexicans going at it, two great world champions, the best world champions of their era going at it. So I feel like, it has to happen, eventually. It's too big of a fight to not make happen. If it doesn't happen, that's going to be a shame. We left a great fight on the table, but at the end of the day, if I was Canelo Alvarez, I wouldn't want to fight me, David Benavidez, a Mexican monster either.
With massive cross-cultural appeal, industry insiders know a clash between the Mexican icon and the undefeated knockout artist could easily generate a staggering $150 million purse. Yet, as Smith pointed out with fierce disbelief, Canelo continues to bypass the one matchup that defines this era, leaving millions on the table and hardcore fans feeling deeply betrayed.
Anybody who knows boxing, everybody who watches boxing knows that David Benavidez is the real deal. Now, that doesn't mean he'd beat you, because anybody could fall if you catch him right. We know who you are, Canelo. You big time. But you getting ready to fight. Mbilli, listen, the brother's 43-0. So he's a nice opponent. But that ain't what America has been asking for. That ain't what the boxing world has been asking for. The boxing world, Canelo Alvarez, has been asking you to go in the ring against David Benavidez, who's undefeated, a knockout artist, has smoked everybody in his path. He's undefeated, and he's been asking for you. And oh, by the way, Canelo Alvarez, you could get $150 million for fighting David Benavidez. The Latino population alone will ensure that you get that fight. Yo, we all know it. And you don't get to say that when you just finished fighting Charlo, the Charlo that was 2 weight divisions lighter than you. You don't get to say something like that. You don't get to say he's nothing, he's nothing, he's nothing. He happens to be a champion who's a knockout artist who's undefeated at your weight class, as opposed to 2 weight classes smaller like Jamal Charlo was. Jamal Charlo, that's what it is. You fought him. He fights at 154. You fight at 168, but you still got in the ring with him. Why won't you get in the ring with David Benavidez? Again, I'm not saying you'd lose. What I'm saying is there's a damn good chance you could. And if you could, that makes it for an epic fight. Everybody wants to see you against David Benavidez. Everybody. Don't do that to us. If you want to make him wait and say, I want to make this money, fine, even though you made gobs and gobs of money, and the contingent will follow you wherever you go because you that big time, you that box office. You fought Bivol. Who was asking for that? Nobody cared about that fight.
While critics accuse Canelo of taking an easier route, his upcoming clash against Christian Mbilli is far from a walk in the park. Flying completely under the mainstream radar, Mbilli is an undefeated punching machine with devastating power and an engine that never stops. The tension between them boiled over at their launch press conference in Cairo, where Mbilli looked Canelo in the eye and boldly claimed that Father Time had finally caught up to the legend. Mbilli insisted that Canelo's speed and explosive snap have faded, declaring that the veteran will bitterly regret stepping into the ring. Canelo fired back with ice-cold confidence, stating Mbilli has a 0% chance of victory, but the disrespect had already landed.
Mbilli says he views this as a 50-50 fight. What percentage chance do you give him to beat you in this fight?
0.
Why do you say 0? Nothing he does impresses you?
No, he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, but my mind is 0%.
And you said yesterday something that in 10 years, 20 years, he could never beat you. What makes you so confident about that?
No, like he say, it's the perfect time because I'm old and this and that. I say to him, you know, if I have 50 years old, you can still not beat me. So, and this life, he cannot beat me.
He's gonna be surprised in September.
You feel like that's just...
You're gonna be surprised.
Be ready. You're going to be surprised. In September, dis-le, en septembre, il va regretter d'être sur le ring. En septembre, il va regretter d'être sur le ring.
In September, you will regret being on that ring.
What?
He said that on September 12, you will regret to be on that ring.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
In September, you're going to regret to be in the ring.
No. But you will see different things.
You will see.
Hey, you will see different things. You know, I'm not your opponent. You come to France and all this and made it for you. Come on, bro.
I'm not Berlanga. I'm not. Comment il s'appelle l'autre? Munguia. You're gonna.
No, and you don't go Golovkin. You know this and this and this and this.
But you don't have the same age now.
We will see.
Not the same performance that Golovkin.
Like I say, if I'm 50 years old right now, you cannot beat me.
You're gonna see.
Okay,
In September, be ready.
we'll see.
See.
Meanwhile, David Benavidez continues to wage relentless psychological warfare from the sidelines. The man known as the Mexican Monster openly insists that Canelo's reluctance is rooted in genuine fear. Benavidez argues that Canelo has always struggled against bigger physical power punchers who refuse to be bullied. In his eyes, Canelo knows deep down that he cannot suppress a prime, high-volume pressure fighter who walks through fire. Confident that his craft is sharper than ever, Benavidez is now executing a ruthless master plan. Instead of waiting around, he is moving through divisions to collect every major world title, aiming to hold all the cards and legally force Canelo into an inescapable corner.
So the way I've seen him handle my presence is he's definitely scared of me. You know, if you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. You know, not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I want to prove myself to the world that I'm the greatest fighter. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter because I know that elevates me and who I am as a competitor. So that's I know for a fact that he sees in me. At the end of the day, he should have took the fight with me way back then because if he had a chance to beat me, it would have been back then. And he has no chance of beating me now, especially now. I'm getting all this confidence. You know, I'm stepping into my prime. You know, I'm able to deal with these bigger shows better. You know what I mean? I'm able to thrive in these shows. I'm able to, every time I fight, I'm always winning by a significant amount. You know what I mean? So I'm learning my craft better and better each and every single fight. I'm gaining more confidence every single fight. And like I said, I really want to go in there and hurt people. I'm not a boxer. I'm a warrior, and I go in there, I tear everybody up.
I agree.
Canelo, however, sees the entire situation through a completely different lens. The champion has publicly pushed back against the unrelenting noise, making it clear that the goalposts never stop moving. Throughout his historic career, every time he conquered an elite rival, critics instantly demanded he fight the next rising star. To Canelo, Benavidez is essentially a heavyweight masquerading in lighter divisions, creating an unfair physical mismatch. He maintains that the window for a legitimate super middleweight bout closed years ago when Benavidez lost his own strap. From Canelo's perspective, these young contenders are simply riding his coattails, barking for an unearned golden lottery ticket.
You know, I was laughing a little bit because I watched the David Benavidez fight with Zurdo Ramirez, and now he's fighting at cruiserweight at 200 pounds and still calling you out. And I'm like, look, the ship has sailed for me, right?
Yeah,
The fight was going to happen. It would have happened when you guys were both at 168.
Yeah, and look, every fight is calling me out, no? Obviously, they looking for the payday. No, it's a reason they always calling me out. But you know, when we are like both in 168, I fought every champion at the division. I say to myself, why he never fight those champions? And then if he was a champion at that point, I fight him because my goal was being undisputed. So right now it's just impossible. You know, it's impossible. He can fight with the heavyweights. You know what I mean?
You're talking about him fighting Usyk, right?
Yeah. So, but you know, I understand why he's calling me out or they are calling me out, but it's fine.
Just when the narrative seemed set in stone, a stunning plot twist flipped the entire boxing world on its head. In a shocking turn of events, analysts and insider commentators began turning the exact same accusations back on Benavidez. While demanding that Canelo face him, Benavidez suddenly found himself accused of dodging cruiserweight kingpin Jai Opetaia. Analysts quickly pointed out a glaring double standard. The Benavidez camp began brushing off Opetaia with the exact same business excuses, claiming Opetaia lacked the promotional international leverage and sanctioning body belts to justify the risk. It exposed the cold, calculated reality of modern boxing, showing that even the sport's most vocal warriors aren't above playing the same political game when the danger becomes too real.
This is crazy. In a recent interview, number 5 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, David Benavidez said he won't fight Jai Opetaia, the cruiserweight champion of the world. Benavidez said Opetaia brings nothing in that fight but a Zuffa belt, and that he, Benavidez, is looking for legacy, and so Opetaia needs a couple more big challenges, and then he'll think about fighting Opetaia. Here's my problem, guys. Yes, Opetaia has the Zuffa belt. He also has the Ring Magazine belt. He is considered the lineal champion, the one and only legitimate cruiserweight champion of the world. Now, as much as I love David Benavidez, and he's been ruthlessly ducked at 68 and 75, Benavidez has never been the champion, the actual champion of any division. It's not his fault. He hasn't been given the opportunity. I mean, he may have been the best fighter in multiple divisions, but he's never proven that he is the champion by beating the champ because he's been frozen out of those fights. The problem is Benavidez is now using the same excuse to avoid fighting Opetaia as Canelo used to avoid fighting Benavidez. Well, he doesn't really have anything for me yet. He has to build himself up. What does he really bring to the table? I'm looking for legacy fights. Canelo's chasing sanctioning body belts and all that stuff, but it was all nonsense. And Canelo, who's never ducked anyone in his career, right, except Benavidez at super middleweight, was wrong. And Benavidez should have gotten his shot. And right now, I believe Benavidez is wrong, and he should fight Jai Opetaia, the cruiserweight champion of the whole wide world. What do you think, Teo?
Yeah, I think I actually agree with you on this one, Max. I think, honestly, Benavidez should just go after the ring and face Jai Opetaia. I mean, why not? I mean, overall, it should be a better fight. People want to see it already, and you'll be the number one guy. You know, you will be the champion.
And also the logic that he's using, well, I'm after legacy stuff. Does he think that some sanctioning body, that a belt confers some special status actually on a fight? Who are the 2 best cruiserweights in the world? It is obvious to everyone. Jai Opetaia, David Benavidez. So the thing to do is to find out who's better. That's simple.
Yeah. Still, the chorus of Hall of Famers and seasoned experts sounding the alarm on Canelo's legacy is growing deafening. Former champions like Oscar De La Hoya, Roy Jones Jr., and Tim Bradley have openly questioned whether a legendary warrior ethos is being traded for safe career management. They warn that a hungry prime lion with endless stamina is the worst possible style matchup for an aging superstar, which is precisely why Canelo's hesitation speaks volumes. In a sport built on unfiltered courage, allowing a rival to openly question your dignity without answering the call inside the ring threatens to tear down decades of carefully built respect.
Ooh, Canelo, I don't care how much he's up for it. He's a 40-punch around fight, you know? No, I mean 40 punches around fight, yeah. And Mbilli, yeah, I mean he'll be way up for it, of course. You know, and like I said, Mbilli brings a pace every time, you know. And although he is hittable and he's in the front door, he's also very difficult to dissuade mentally. He's very strong mentally. He wants to punish you. He wants to make you uncomfortable. And I don't know. I just don't think Canelo ever liked the pace even in his prime, let alone now, you know?
Do you think that frustrates David Benavidez and Jose Sr., that those guys, that the sport of boxing might have let them down a little bit?
I mean, listen, I think David is one of the best fighters in the whole sport.
Yeah, he is.
And I think they were trying to walk on eggshells, hoping that Canelo was going to give him a shot, you know? But, you know, in reality, you know, he was never going to give him a shot. So they were trying to be a little bit respectful in the way they called him out. Like, I would have just dogged him because I knew he was, again, once you know he's not going to fight you anyway, just embarrass the guy, you know what I mean? Just keep dogging him and call him out for what he is, you know? And
at this stage in his iconic journey, Canelo Alvarez faces a crossroads that money cannot resolve. He has reached the summit, captured 4-division supremacy, and generated astronomical fortunes. But history is an unforgiving judge. Long after the stadium lights dim and the paychecks are cashed, greatness is measured by the monsters a champion was willing to face when everything was on the line.
Accomplish. Like, what more is there for you to achieve? You've done it all.
I pretty much accomplished everything. Pretty much.
So then why are you fighting?
Because I love boxing. And you know, if you look back, every time I fight, I break some records.
Yeah, of course.
And that's my motivation.
Of course. Legacy.
Legacy.
They say the hardest thing to do for any athlete, not just boxers, is to walk away. I've seen it in football, see it in basketball, baseball, hockey, you name it. We've seen it with some of the greats,
And you feel it.
unfortunately. Yeah, I feel it, no doubt. I got
You
metal
know
in
the
my knee,
feeling.
metal in my arm. But, I think about seeing an older Mike Tyson. I'm not talking about the Netflix Mike Tyson. I'm talking about the end of his career. An older Muhammad Ali, older Evander Holyfield. I remember seeing some of the greats still boxing because maybe they had to. How do you know when it's time to walk away? How will you know?
My body's gonna tell me.
Yeah,
You
my
know,
body
when
told
I-
me. That's why I
yeah.
retired.
When I'm there in the gym and I take a lot of punches and then my body doesn't respond in the same way, then I know. I'm not gonna go and fight with that kind of training. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
Because in the train, you can see everything in the training camp.
Yeah, you can see everything. You can feel everything.
You feel how your body respond or not, no? But I feel good. But it's not much left for me too.
Yeah.
For me, I have other things to accomplish outside of boxing.
Speaking of those other things, you enrolled back in college? Are you enrolled in college to get your degree?
Yeah.
So you're 36 years old.
Yeah.
At this point in your life, you clearly don't need a degree to be successful.
Yeah.
So the question is why?
Yes, I need. That's why I'm involved in this.
Why do you feel
because
like you need
I need other vocabulary, business vocabulary.
I got you. I see what you're saying.
Because now my vocabulary, I can say a lot of bad words and if I,
No, I know what you're saying.
but
because
different vocabulary to a businessman vocabulary.
Because that's what you're really going to transition into after boxing.
Yeah.
But as the clock ticks down on an unforgettable era, one lingering question will define his ultimate standing. Will history remember him as the fearless warrior who conquered every threat, or the king who guarded his throne from the one battle that truly mattered? But what do you think of Canelo's career? Do you think some big fights, like the ones against David Benavidez, are being left on the table? Let me know in the comments. That's all for today. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.